right, we are live on LinkedIn and YouTube. Let me just press this button over here on Instagram and we'll be all set. My man, how you doing on a Friday?
Rich, what's up, brother? Happy to be talking to you. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, right. So I'm gonna do the official intro. I'll do the official intro. Welcome you to the show, and then we'll do a little fun fact of how you and I kind of know each other as well. All right.
Yeah.
So, all right, Mando, welcome to Fresh Start Fridays. I'm gonna read your bio real quick. Mando Sallavanti is the founder of Freedom Path Wealth, where he serves service-based business owners doing at least 1 million in revenue per year and sales executives making 500K. He's also a coach and consultant to financial advisors nationwide through his followers to fact finders community and one-on-one coaching, teaching the strategies that transformed his own business into one of the fastest growing firms in the country. A former college football captain turned entrepreneur, Mando is a real estate investor, keynote speaker, and content creator who helps high performers build wealth with intention and discipline. My man, how'd that sound? Sound good?
Sounded amazing. We'll hope to live up to that intro today.
Yes. So real quick, a little fun fact before we get into the story. You and I were connected on socials, primarily LinkedIn, for a while, and I don't remember exactly how you and I connected, but I do remember the first time you came on my radar, which was about 2 or 3 years ago. You and I were both speakers at the Young Professionals Conference. I did a breakout on the upper floor, and then you were doing, it was like either the a panel at the end or the keynote panel or something to that nature, because you were one of like 3 or 4 speakers on the stage at that time. And I remember listening to you speak, and you had referenced a couple really dope books and you talked about your journey and you made such an impact on that stage. And I'm like, I got to talk to this cat at some point in time. Today might not be the day because there's, a lot of people. Everyone's going to want to come up and shake your hand afterwards and stuff. But that was like the first time you got on my radar. Like, I got to talk to this guy. And then, it took a while, but then you and I were both dancers this year at the Wilkes-Barre Dancing Stars of Wilkes-Barre by the KISS Theater. You and I were both raising money for the KISS Theater. And that was like the first time you and I were in a room together where we can actually chop it up and get to know each other. And I'm so grateful to have you in my life and call myself your friend. So, and thank you for being here today, brother.
Yeah, man. It's funny. That Young Professionals Conference actually was like the second ever public speaking engagement I ever got offered, because we're talking, that had to be early 2023. I think it was something like that.
Yeah. It was a couple
years
ago.
Might even been early 24, one or the other, but it was one of the first speaking engagements that I ever did, even being on a panel. And oh my God, I actually forgot about it. That's so funny you bring that up. But yeah, it's funny. That's where we crossed paths. And then earlier this year with the Dancing Stars of Wilkes-Barre, who knew like we would obviously get to spend a good amount of time together with some of the things for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So cool, man. And we're both, graduates of King's College. Go Monarchs.
That's right. Go Monarchs.
We've got that in common too. So awesome, man. Let's get into it. So we're going to start at the beginning, or at least I think, of your professional journey, in that you started college. The intention was to follow in your father's footsteps, going to medical school. But I'm reading your bio, and a 1.6 GPA. And, you started getting it was a waning interest in medical studies. Like, hey, is this the path for me? Like, I want to make a difference. You're a good hearted person. And I know that you want to make an impact in the world and help people, but there are other ways to make an impact. And I know that it was a conversation you had with a mentor that you said, hey, I might need to go into a different I might need to follow a different path. So tell me a little bit about that, being so young, thinking I'm going to be a doctor, and then maybe that's not for me.
Rich, it was so hard because I remember growing up, like a lot of people don't know this about me. My nickname is Doc. Everyone that I grew up with calls me Doc. If I called my best friend on the phone right now, he would literally answer. He'd be like, Doc, what's going on? Like, that's how he would answer the phone. So just to give you how ingrained in my life it was that I was going to be a doctor. And now I'm in my freshman year of college, my first semester, 1.6 GPA or whatever it was. And I remember I was going to, because like you start doing your labs and stuff when you're in these biology classes. And like, I remember going to labs and nothing against people who were in class with me, but I just felt like I didn't fit in with the group that was like in my classes. I wasn't interested in the same things. Like we didn't really like share any commonalities. And then two, I'm like, I don't even like doing this work. Like this is like pulling my hair out to come here every day and get through this. Mm-hmm. What that led to and why I did so poorly in school, I skipped class all the time. Like it wasn't because I didn't like apply myself and couldn't get the information. For full context, I was a high honor student my whole life. Going to college and then having a 1.6 GPA was like, well, what is going on with me? I was just rebelling and not going to class, not doing what I needed to do, like just totally out of it, right? So that's when I started to look at myself because for the first time in my life, I was unhappy at 18 years old. I've never actually felt like truly unhappy. And when that happened, I naturally went to my parents. I said, guys, look, I don't know if this is what it is, but I don't think that going on this path is what is meant for me. And I know, Dad, that you want me to follow your footsteps, but I just don't think it's for me. And in that moment, you want to talk about leadership. Like you're talking about parents to kids, but my dad leading me, he said, that's okay. And being a doctor isn't everything it's made out to be. That's not the only way you could succeed. Mm. But having the tough love that my dad does, being an Italian dude, he's like, you're going to figure out what you want to do though. So I'm setting you up on conversations. You're going to go talk to this guy, this guy, this guy. Second call I made was his financial advisor, Timmy Lavelle, who's sitting in the office over from me, literally in this building I'm in now. And I talked to Timmy, and basically that conversation, it was a cold January night. I'm driving around in my Jeep that I had then because I didn't want to be at home while I was talking to him. And I remember what he had portrayed to me when I asked him, like, what does it mean to be an advisor? It showed me that as a doctor, you can impact people in one way with their health, with how you serve their family. But what else do we think about right before we shut our eyes at night? We also think about our money in addition to our health as something that's important to us. Can we pay our bills? Are we making the right decisions for our family long-term? And when I talked to Timmy and realized that, I'm like, wait, I could help people make an amazing living, have an awesome life, buy my kids in the future presents on Christmas and sneakers on the first day of school, and just do it on a different way that my dad did it. Mm-hmm.
So, and remind me again, you were a freshman at this time, or now you're a sophomore?
I was a freshman. I was 18 years old. I was in my I basically, like, my first semester in school, I was like, I lived like 4 lifetimes, I felt like. And then my second semester was right at the beginning of it. I was undecided, my major. Actually, I think I was still biology, actually, but like in the first month is when I had this conversation. And then going into my second year in school, my sophomore year, that's when I had changed to finance and ultimately got my degree, actually finance and marketing, because I was in school for an extra semester due to football. I had a red shirt from the first school I played football at. So that's when it changed.
Okay. And then when was it that you went to King's? Was that when
that was the semester? So after this first semester,
okay,
I started having these conversations with my parents. Not that I didn't want to be a doctor necessarily, but I just didn't really, I was struggling in school. I don't think I belonged where I am. So I transferred to King's and was still biology at the time. Mm-hmm. And my first month there, I was noticing the same patterns I had at my prior school. Mm-hmm. And that's when I brought it up to my parents about a month in. And basically my dad started pointing me in the direction of like, look, if you don't know what you want to do, we're going to get you in contact with people so you can figure this out. So I finished that semester, got my grades up in the same, same curriculum. I was still on the pre-med track and I had my grades up. So it's like, okay, clearly, like if I apply myself, I know how to do school still and not like forget every molecule of smartness I ever had. But after that point, my sophomore year is when I really made the switch.
Okay. And then, so now you made the switch, you're at King's. And then also there's even a significant story with your coach, right? Your coach gave you also a little bit of tough love in that I know that you were kind of butting heads for a little bit, but he helped get you more on track or, really stepping up, right? Tell me a little bit about that.
So Coach Dabrowski, he is one of the greatest mentors in my life. And it's so funny because I'm here today at 27, going to be 28 real soon. And I think back to when I was 18, just starting at King's. Like if you told 18-year-old me that me and Coach Dabrowski, like that he would mean this much to me, I would have told you you're crazy, because he'll tell you this too. Like our first year we knew each other, we butted heads so much. Now he probably didn't perceive it that way because he's just like, I'm the coach. I've seen this story 9 times before. Like we're going to get Mando to come around. It'll be cool.
Right.
But he's a tough love type of guy. And I didn't take it well because at the time I was a battered down, not confident 18-year-old with no idea what direction I wanted to go in. And he really like pushed some harsh accountability on me. Like I would have to give him all my grades as I got them throughout the semester. And credit to the Kings football staff, because they just do this as a requirement for all first-year players on their team. And even if you're a transfer in your first year, it's a requirement. And I believe it probably still is, even, me being out for 6 years now, because Coach Dabrowski is now the head coach. He was my defensive coordinator at the time and position coach, but I'd have to give him my grades every week. And I think that accountability is what got me to get my grades up, because I'm like, I can't hide the grades from my parents until the end of the semester. I got to face these every week. And I don't want to walk into coach's office with bad grades after I just transferred in here. I want to play football and start for them. If I can't get it done in the classroom, how are they going to trust me on the field? So Coach Dabrowski was a massive influence in getting my act together.
Awesome. And just out of curiosity, what was a consequence if grades were poor? Like, did you have to sit on the bench or run extra laps?
So there's 2 consequences. One of them was more like cut and dry, which was we would do what's called rolling, which I don't know that they do this anymore, but let's say you missed a class or an unexcused absence to a class or a meeting or a workout, or you're late to practice, or you're failing a class and you don't have a good grade or whatever. After practice every day, we would have the great privilege of lining up on the goal line with whoever that was at the one goal line. And you would lay horizontal. So I'm straight down the line, and then you would roll. And you would roll all the way down the field. And you had to do that until you got to the other goal line for 100 yards. Okay. That might not sound bad. I promise it is the worst thing ever. Worst. I would rather do 30 100-yard sprints back to back than roll 100 yards. It is like that brutal. So that is what our punishment will be. You would roll if you basically didn't do those things. So physical punishment has a funny way of getting you to do the right things.
That's awesome. And I could imagine that, because, you think rolling down a hill when you're a kid that you've got gravity helping you out. But if you're on a flat playing field, you're doing that work of.
Plus you're getting dizzy too. So you get dizzy and you have to you're basically like squeezing your core over the whole 100 yards. I mean, it is, you're probably rolling over 200 to 300 times by the time you get to the other goal line.
Jesus. Okay. All right. So we got that. We've got some mentors in your corner. Awesome. Now, we're going to fast forward a little bit. So you've graduated. You're starting as a financial advisor, and, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just kind of going on the bits and pieces that I've read from
Yeah.
your posts and
Yeah.
things like that, because I'm learning about this, just like our audience is. Um, it sounds like rather than having some cheerleaders in your corner when you were just starting out, developing your book of business and calling these prospects and trying to generate leads, and getting people to trust you, you've got people telling you that you don't have the stuff to be a financial advisor. Am I correct?
What was really funny, there's, I don't know if this is a saying, but if it's not, I'm going to make it one right now.
Coin it.
If you want to find out who the people are in your life that really believe in you, go start a business or get into sales and then see who really believes in you, like flat out. I will tell you, Rich, when I got into business as a financial advisor and with Timmy, my mentor, locally, a lot of people know him that run in the same circles as me and even beyond that. And when they heard I was starting, what I heard all the time was, oh, well, everyone's not him. Everyone can't do what he does. And I'm like, so are you just telling me that I can't? Is that what you're actually trying to say, that I'm not cut out for that? And there was a lot of that. And there was a lot of people that when I started on my journey, I asked for help who wouldn't give it. What's amazing is there's a lot of people who did give help. And the fraction of people who did give help outweigh all of the conversations I had with people who didn't. By the way, it also showed me who I really should be investing more of my time, effort, and energy with ongoing. But, it's like you start and everyone is happy you start. And then you need help and very few help. And then people laugh at you. And then you fast forward long enough and now they're asking you for help. It's like, oh, funny how that turns. And I'm not a guy that looks at it like I'm not going to help you because you didn't help me. But
Right.
I've got that in the back of my mind. I'll give you the shirt off my back and I'll still help you. But I remember and I won't forget, So it's just funny how that happens.
And I want to hear more about that real quick, but I also just want to go back and connect a few dots for maybe the people that don't know you as well. You had said that not everybody is like Timmy, and you had said in a video that I had watched that you would describe him very much as an extrovert, kind of like the life of the party. You had said in a video that he's the person that if he goes to a party, he walks into the center of the room, shakes everybody's hand, and is talking to everybody. Whereas you have also described yourself in other videos as being more of a shy person, or at least then you were. So that's the connecting of the dots that people are telling you you're not like Timmy. Am I correct?
Yeah, like I've really worked at my communication skills. I've really worked at like being able to put myself out there. Now it's like second nature, but I'll tell you this, naturally, if you put me in a room and just let me hang out by myself and do my thing, like I could do that for days and be happy as a pig in mud. You know what I mean? Like I could do that. Right. Whereas I do like people. I love people and I love meeting new people and I love doing stuff like we're doing today, right? Like it's like, dude, you're on a podcast, you post on social media every day, you're an introvert. And I think there's a different, it's like a continuum, right? Like I'm not an introvert in the sense of like I don't like to talk to people and I don't like to put myself out there, but very much so that I'm fine keeping to myself. And actually when I am in these like when I go give a keynote, for example, and I mean, you can imagine how that is. You give a keynote, you come off the stage, and then after your talk, everyone wants to talk to you. Into the night at the hotel bar, everyone wants to talk to you. At dinner, everyone wants to talk to you. Like I'm having hundreds of conversations and giving, and like exuding energy that I just get drained from it, where it's not uncommon after I go give a keynote, I need to just like, let me be home for 3 days and like not leave the house. So even still, I am that guy, but I've had to learn how to manage like both sides of myself.
Gotcha. So real quick for the folks that are watching that maybe find themselves in a similar situation where they might be introverts or they might be battling, that they might
Yeah.
be a shy individual. Like, how did you go from being someone that, for all intents and purposes, is cool just being by themselves, yet you proactively push yourself to create video content? You're putting yourself out there. You're quite literally stepping on stage and being in front of everybody, the center attraction. Like, what were some things that you did, whether it was mindset, mentality, or physically practicing those communication skills? Tell us a little bit about that.
So first, I remember earlier in my career when I started with Timmy, like one of the things that he told me from the beginning was just like, here's what it takes to be successful. This is what you have to do. And I would just constantly go to him and I would say, Timmy, like, what do I need to do this week? What do I need to do today? Like, what should I be focusing on? How do I get to the next level? How do I grow? And as he would tell me things, there would be actions that I associate with them. One of them, quite frankly, is just going to be putting myself out there. When you're a financial advisor building a business from zero, you've got to make calls. You've got to ask people things. You have to make offers. You have to learn marketing. Like, ultimately, if you keep yourself as a secret, guess what? You stay as a secret. And if you are a secret, then you won't have clients and you won't have a business. So me connecting that in my mind, first things first, I connected the fact of like, I would rather feel utterly uncomfortable to put myself out there and be in a position where I could squirm and cringe than just accept my defeat and fail at what I'm going for here, because I have a bigger purpose. And you have to connect that bigger purpose with what you're trying to do. For me, I want to build a life for myself that changes the trajectory of everyone in my family and the path they're on. I want to be able to give opportunities to family members. I want to be able to give opportunities to people in general who want to go and take it. So that purpose, that gets me so fired up, and I'm so much more pulled toward that than I am of being scared of some of the things like putting myself out there. So that's number one. Number two is this. I have a great friend and a mentor. His name is Scott McGregor. He runs a community called the Outlier Project. I joined this a little bit over a year ago. And one of the things I've learned from Scott, and this is one of my favorite lessons ever, he always talks about like, see who you can become. He says this all the time. He's like, see who you could become. This is like one of his like phrases that he uses. And what I associated that to is, see how hard you can push yourself in a workout. See what experiences you could create. See what difference you can make in other people's lives. And why I'm saying that is like, you don't get an extraordinary life sitting in your bubble, not taking chances and not putting yourself in uncertain scenarios. Think about a sports team. Like, I'm a Boston Celtics fan. They won the championship in 2024. If the Celtics woke up on Jan 1 of 2024 knowing they were going to win the championship, or if I did as a fan, how much would you celebrate when they actually win the thing? You wouldn't be as happy. You wouldn't be as joyous when it happens, because you didn't know that it was going to happen. There wasn't certainty. So when it does happen, it's that much better. And that's what I look at. Like, uncertainty is the number one point of amazing things in life. That was another piece that helped me get over it. So connecting to a bigger purpose and realizing that everything great in life comes from uncertainty in a weird way.
Very cool. Very cool. And then I'm just curious too, like, when you're applying these principles as a new when it comes to like financial planning, like you were working for a firm, right? And then from there you started your own business, or you kind of independent contractor? Because I know like insurance people, they might like sell certain types of insurance, but you know what I'm saying? Like
I'll explain the dynamic, because it's a little bit complex, but it's unique to our industry. So basically, you'll have these very large financial institutions. So like Mass Mutual is one that I'm associated with. There's a bunch of other ones, Northwestern Mutual. There's Ameriprise. There's, your banks like Merrill Lynch, like Wells Fargo. Like there's all these big financial institutions, and they all have different structures of how their advisors partner with them. But essentially, what I started doing was I was really just branding myself under their name and selling their products on the insurance and on the investment side. I wasn't really running a business. I was more so like a financial product salesperson, is the best way that I could put it. as I got into the standpoint of like, okay, I know how to solve problems with products. Those are like the most basic financial problems you're solving. Naturally, I started to learn more about financial planning in different situations, and clients of mine have more complex situations. So I'm like, this is interesting. I think I want to actually develop a financial planning service that is more than just solve a retirement problem with an investment or solve a protection problem with an insurance product. I wanted to do more than that for my clients. So I started to get really intentional about how would I build my firm if I built it. I've maintained my affiliation with MassMutual, and I still do use their products from time to time with clients because products solve problems sometimes in the financial world. But my main focus now, Freedom Path Wealth, which is my business that I've started, we have a team. There's 4 of us right now, including myself. And our core offering is financial planning for a service, which is reverse engineering client goals back to today. Let's make the financial moves that help us get as close to those as possible on the quickest timeline possible without taking too much risk. And then we still do sell products in-house. We still give investment solutions in-house on the back end, and we'll implement those through MassMutual's platforms. They handle our compliance. They have some amazing experts and specialists that we really rely on. They have more gray hair and bald heads than I do. So it's good to have that in your back pocket, right? Because I got fancy letters after my name now, but I don't know everything. So it's this like unique partnership is the best way I could say it. And financial services is really the only world I know that it exists. Real estate is similar with like realtors that associate with brokerages, but they kind of like have their own business. But it's even like different than that.
Okay. I appreciate you clarifying that. And a follow-up question to that is like, give me a little bit of a timeline. From what I've heard, you and I'm speaking from someone else. When you were struggling to bring in leads, when you're brand spanking new, you just graduated or whatever, you got hired by whatever firm, MassMutual or another firm, you were struggling to bring in those leads. And then if I'm correct, you started making regular social media content as a way of putting yourself out there. Is that how it happened? Like, because you've got a huge following. And I'm curious to know, like, tell me a little bit more about that. And, you're doing knocking on doors, making phone calls, hearing no. And you're like, you know what? Let me try social media, see if that's tell me about that.
Yeah. So funny enough, when I was in college, my last year, which was 2020, we get sent home for the pandemic during COVID.
That was your last year?
Yeah, right in college was my last year. So now we're there spring semester. We get sent home the second week of February. And I remember it was like Scranton Parade Day. We're going to the parade. And then we didn't go because there was like all this COVID stuff going on. And we're like, oh, we'll be back at school in 2 weeks. Never go back to school. So now a month later, I'm bored at home. I've collected sneakers my whole life. It's a big passion of mine. It still is. I still collect them.
Okay.
During that time, my best friend Jarrett is reselling sneakers and he's making money. And I'm like, dude, like you're doing awesome with this. Like you're really like making money. He's like, yeah, man. I'm like, I kind of want to do it too. Like, what do you think? And credit to Jarrett, because he was like, yeah, do it, man. Like we could both win. Like, absolutely, let's do it. So I start reselling sneakers. Now, me and Jarrett both were doing this on Instagram, Facebook, eBay, and this showed me the power of social media because, Rich, I literally did over $100,000 transaction volume selling sneakers from my college apartment and parents' basement in less than 5 months. And I built an account to over 10,000 followers in that time. And then I got into financial services at the end of the year in December of 2020.
Okay.
And I basically threw away social media. So I had all that sneaker stuff that I did, threw away social media. I built my initial business, 25 to 35 clients, maybe off of the back of like the old school, like go to networking events, get referrals from people, talk to people you know, and hopefully they refer you, and do cold calls. Like I did cold calls too. Like that was how I built it initially. But my second year in business, which was 2022, I had this realization, like, I can't be on this hamster wheel. This is exhausting for me. You talk about like being an introvert, try making cold calls for 4 hours a day and like tell me how annoying that is. So with social media, I finally am like, there's got to be a better way to do this. I did it with sneakers on Instagram. Why don't I try LinkedIn with this business? And I'm going to commit to it. It was the beginning of the year. I'm like, I'm going to commit to this for 2022. And if it doesn't work out, 2023, I'll figure out what I'm doing with my life. Okay. So I did. And throughout the year, I bought different courses. I hired different coaches. I failed. I learned. I got 7 clients that first year. Okay. And I figured if I could get 7, I could get 70. Sure. So from there, I iterated, I learned. I still work with different coaches and consultants over time because I think you could never stop learning. And now it accounts for over 80% of my business.
That's awesome. So I want to dig deeper because I want some folks that we're going to inspire some folks today. Yeah. So like, what were some of the things that you did? Because you said that you were starting from scratch on social media. Like you had done it once, but now in this new venture, like obviously you're not using the same account that you sold kicks to. And now you're saying, hey, but I also do financial planning. Like you're starting from scratch. What were some of the things that you did to build that social media following and put yourself out there?
Yeah, so a lot of it was learned over the course of now 4 years of doing it. Okay. But if I was starting from zero, then this is what I would do. A big mistake I think a lot of people make, they don't identify who are they actually trying to attract and who is the end reader that they want to be impacted by their content. So in some spheres, this is called an ideal client profile or an ideal or ideal avatar or whatever you call it. So start with who am I trying to attract and go super in depth on like who is this person? What are they doing for a living? What's their family lifestyle? What are their values? What emotions are they feeling about the particular topic that I'm speaking about? Go in depth on this. And you could use AI like Claude AI or ChatGPT. Like you can do this and it'll help you brainstorm these things very, very simply. So now that you have this, your actual content strategy that you would want to create, it should be with that person in mind, and everything should be stories, because I think stories connect. People resonate with stories flat out, and they're more entertaining to read. So you take these stories from your life, whether they're years ago, whether it's short, simple things from your week even. It could literally be as simple as like, I went and got lunch on Tuesday and I saw this guy across the room and this was interesting for this reason. And next thing you know, you're in a story, but what you have to do with your stories is connected to, here's what you can learn from it. And this is what it means for you. Because now you start to become a person that they're entertained when they read your stuff, and they know they get value from it. So if they get those two things, they're going to keep coming back. So that was a content switch. And then third, it's social media. So I don't know why I thought this until like one of my coaches said this to me that I was working with. But I used to think if you just made good enough content and posted it into the void that you would get in front of the right people. And like, that's not the case. You have to be out commenting. You have to be out following people, sending connection requests on LinkedIn. You've got to be doing this stuff and adding to other people's lives, because if no one knows you exist, like why are they going to interact with you? They're just not, quite frankly. So you have to put the social into social media, comment on other people's stuff, message them, be engaged.
I love it. I love it. And yes, say it again for the people in the back. Social media, be social. Awesome. What else is there anything else that we missed in because I tried to go on the path, the path of where you started from and where you're at. Did we miss anything? Is there anything that needs to get highlighted?
I don't think we missed anything, man. But what I would just say is everything starts between your 2 ears, and all of these lessons, even that I have learned, it's all started with getting crystal clear on what I wanted in my life. So for example, some people call this manifestation. Other people have other names for it, goal setting, whatever you call it. And a lot of people think that it just doesn't work, quite frankly. I think more people than not. But here's what I could tell you. I've been blessed to rub shoulders with some insanely successful people. I mean, people that are making millions upon millions and millions per year and own private jets and like just crazy amounts of wealth. And it's not about that. And that doesn't mean that that's the marker of success. But just to give you an example, they all swear by how they are articulating their vision and identifying it constantly and how that then materializes in their life. A simple way to put this, Amazon. That was an idea in Jeff Bezos' mind before Amazon existed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, obviously it was. Well, if that was an idea when it first started, why is every other thing in our life not an idea when it first started? Mm-hmm. Spoiler alert, it is. So that's been a huge key to anything I've accomplished. And I'd never be where I am without that. And then lastly, like my faith, and like I'm a believer in God personally. I don't push it on anybody necessarily, but at my darkest moments and in my best moments, like I always come back to that. And that's really kept me where I am.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Dude, thank you for joining me today and sharing your stories. And then I will say, for the people that are watching right now live, and the folks that are going to be watching the replay, because we're going to be pushing this out there. We want some replay action. You know, folks, they might be working right now. They might have Friday, whatever is going on. But if you've got a question for Mando, drop it in the comments, whether you're watching this on Instagram or LinkedIn or YouTube. And if he doesn't see it, I will make sure to bring it to his attention. We want to get those questions answered. And then certainly follow Mando on all the channels. And I know that you're super big on LinkedIn. That's where, you know, you've got a dominant presence, but you've also got your Facebook page, which you also had to recently restart as well. So we're both in that boat together. And then you're on Instagram as well. Is there any other social channels?
YouTube is new. YouTube is new. So we just started on YouTube as well. We're posting shorts there, and we'll get into some longer form stuff in the time coming here. And we've got a workshop that I'm doing live on Tuesday at noon. So you'll see the info for that on LinkedIn if anyone's interested in it. And that replay of the workshop will be posted on YouTube next week later on. But better to go live if you got questions. So
cool. What's your handle for YouTube? Because I tried finding you and I couldn't find you.
It is, I believe it is Money with Mando.
Oh, Money with Mando.
It might be Money with Mando Sallavanti. I might have my last name in it. I actually don't remember offhand. I probably should know that from memory.
We'll wipe that. No, but yeah, so in the YouTube show notes, I'll find you and I'll tag you in the show notes as well. Cool. And then what else do you have? Okay, so you got the workshop on Tuesday. What else can we promote for you right now? Or what can we look forward to from you in 2026?
That's the big thing, I think. The workshop Tuesday, if you're interested in that, come check it out. It's free. All you have to do is sign up with your email. You'll get the Zoom link for Tuesday. And get on YouTube. Come give us a follow, subscribe to us. And we literally, this is brand new. Like last week, we just started it. So super pumped about getting exposure there.
Awesome. Well, I'll look for you there. I'll certainly follow you there. We'll put it out there. Dude, thank you for spending your Friday early afternoon or late morning with me. You and I are only a few miles apart. We need to get up, whether we're going out for a coffee or a drink or something like that. We need to get up soon and give you a real hug. And thank you, brother, for hanging out, sharing your story here, Fresh Start Fridays. I appreciate you.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me. Really enjoyed it.
You got it.